My mother restrained me while my father arranged my marriage to a dangerous, much older man. I escaped and exposed them. Now, years later, she is ill and pleading for me to return, because family comes first. In my family, girls were married off as soon as they had their first period, whether at 12, 13, or 14. That first blood meant you were ready for a husband, often a man at least 3 times your age. Growing up, I accepted this as normal until I turned 11. That year, I watched my cousin Miam become engaged to a 43-year-old man just 3 days after her first period. His previous 2 wives had both died before reaching 20. That night, I decided to stop eating enough food, not because of body image or dislike for food, but because I noticed that the thinner girls in my family were the last to get their periods. I thought it was my only chance. Later, I learned your body needs enough fat to start puberty. Other girls called me skeleton, but I didn't care. Many girls my age were already promised to men with children older than them. Yet my wife training continued. Every Friday, from 1 a.m. to 10 a.m., I was forced to serve meals to male relatives in silence. If I made noise or eye contact, I received 10 lashes with a belt. I was made to hold burning pots without gloves to toughen my hands for kitchen work. Every night, my mother applied skin-whitening cream to my face to make me beautiful. Other than secretly starving myself, I played the perfect daughter. No complaints, always talking about my future children. But at 14, still without a period, everything changed. We lived in the US the whole time, though my mother convinced us that this life was normal and that any girl who refused would end up alone, unattractive, and worthless. Until one teacher noticed my extreme thinness when I wore a t-shirt to school. She called me into her office. When she stepped out and forgot to lock her drawer, I saw pamphlets titled "Your Rights as a Young Teenager" and "When Culture Becomes Crime." Reading them shocked me. It was the first time I learned that marriage under 18 is illegal. No cultural exceptions, no parental consent loopholes. I stole the thinnest pamphlet and hid it. Over the next few weeks, after my parents thought I was asleep, I memorized every page. CPS phone numbers, shelter addresses, the exact phrases that triggered mandatory reporting. I learned that teachers, counselors, and doctors are legally obligated to report suspected abuse. I started a secret group in my uncle's shed with 6 younger cousins who hadn't reached puberty yet. We practiced whispering the words, "They're forcing me to marry. I'm only 13. Please help." And at 15, my body betrayed me. My period started while I was preparing food. My mother screamed with joy. By nightfall, my father had chosen my husband, Hamoud Habibi, a construction magnate whose 2 previous wives had died before 23. Official cause, kidney failure. Unofficially, too many pregnancies too young. 2 days later, my cousin Anna, one of the shed girls, got her first period. Within hours, she was promised to a 51-year-old man with 8 older children. They discussed her bride price like livestock. That night, I slipped Anna my notebook with every escape plan, number, and legal fact I had memorized. But before I could act, CPS arrived. Someone had spoken. My father's confusion turned to fury as they questioned him about forced marriages and underage brides. After they left, my family hunted for the traitor. They found my journal in the shed and burned it in front of everyone. My father called me diseased, contaminated. A cancer. He announced my wedding for the next day. At dawn, they came to dress me for marriage. I faked severe stomach pain to get to the bathroom, where I had hidden a bag with clothes, addresses, and $20, stolen $1 at a time from my mother's purse. Using a butter knife, I had pried open a tiny, painted-shut window over weeks. My starvation had made me small enough to fit through. As they pounded on the door, I squeezed through the frame and dropped onto the grass, twisting my ankle. I ran barefoot, bleeding, through backyards, cutting through familiar houses from our community where anyone could return me. Cars started. Voices called my name. I ducked behind garbage bins, dodged headlights, and ran toward the main road. I reached the bus stop as the bus arrived, but realized I had left my $20 in the bag I shoved out the window first. An elderly passenger paid my fare and shielded me from view as my cousin's car pulled up too late. She whispered, "Don't go back." I reached the bus stop as the bus arrived, but realized I had left my $20 in the bag I shoved out the window first. An elderly passenger paid my fare and shielded me from view as my cousin's car pulled up too late. She whispered, "Don't go back." At the courthouse, I limped through security, leaving bloody footprints. The clerk immediately recognized the danger. I gasped the words I had memorized. "I'm 15. They're forcing me to marry today. Please." She brought a judge who granted an emergency protective order on the spot, but the nearest shelter was full until Thursday, 3 days away. I remembered Ms. Rodriguez, my teacher. After 3 buses, I found her at school. She tended my injuries while calling CPS, but they said they needed more evidence of immediate danger. That's when men began arriving in the parking lot. My father and uncles, claiming I was mentally ill and needed medication. Miss Rodriguez took photos of my burns and belt marks. She called 911 as they pounded on the door. We documented everything. The essays I had written about traditions that were actually abuse. The security footage showing my father bringing prescription bottles with my name already on them. When police arrived, my father played the part of a concerned parent. But the mounting evidence, injuries, essays, footage, fake prescriptions, and my protective order convinced CPS to place me in emergency custody. My father lunged at me, screaming about dishonor. Officers restrained him. Miss Rodriguez stayed with me as a CPS coordinator arranged a secure placement. The hospital cleaned the glass from my feet while calls went out to find a safe house. Weekend emergency placements were rare, especially for cultural cases where families often tried to retrieve the girls. Finally, Miss Rodriguez found someone, Theodora Whitman, a retired nurse certified for emergency placement with experience in cultural transition cases. As Margaret, the coordinator, finished paperwork, relief flooded me. On the drive to Theodora's house, a modest, well-secured property far from my community, Miss Rodriguez followed in her car. I still had a text from an unknown number. "You have dishonored us. This is not over." Margaret documented it immediately. She told me I'd need a new number and to avoid social media. For the first time, as Theodora opened her door, I felt a small sense of safety. She noticed my bandaged feet and tired face instantly, her practiced eyes assessing me like only a nurse could. "Come in, dear. Let's get you settled," she said gently. Inside, the house felt warm and safe, so different from the cold marble and gold of my family's home. She led me to a small bedroom with a lock on the inside. "For your peace of mind," she explained, "the windows have alarms, and I've set up motion sensors. You're safe here." While Margaret finished the paperwork, Miss Rodriguez quietly helped me unpack the few belongings I'd managed to bring. Before leaving, she pressed a card into my hand. My personal number. Call me anytime, day or night. That first night, I barely slept. Every passing car made me jump. Every shadow looked like an uncle or cousin sent to drag me back. At 3 a.m., Theodora found me by the window, watching the street. "They came for the last girl too," she said quietly, sitting down beside me. 3 brothers and a father stood right at that gate, demanding her return. "The police here arrive in under 2 minutes. I made sure of that." Sunday passed in a blur of safety planning. Theodora helped me set up a new phone with a number only she, Margaret, and Miss Rodriguez knew. We walked through scenarios. What to do if approached, how to vary my routines, and which neighbors I could trust in an emergency. "Tomorrow we'll register you for school in this district," Theodora explained. "Under the protective order, you can't go back to Jefferson High." The idea of starting over was terrifying, but it mattered more to stay hidden than to walk familiar hallways.